What was the most fucked up thing someone said to you? Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy. Thanks. My life would have been so much better if you had just died too. My twin died at birth. It may be true, but no kid needs to hear that. To me and my wife. We went over for Christmas 10 years ago. My dad was so drunk that they couldn't stand up. He asked if he could hold our 6-month-old child, to which we said no. My mom, who was not as drunk, walked over about 2 minutes later and asked to hold the baby. We said okay to that, and she immediately turned around and handed our baby to my overly drunk dad. A week later, we get together with just us and them and tell them if they drink like that around our kids again, we won't be coming to family events. My mom looked straight at my wife and said, all the problems in this family are because of you. My wife, being taken by surprise by that, stuttered her next words, and before she could get it out, my mom did that tutu today mock. Needless to say, we got up and walked out of their house. I found out at 4 months. Crazy, I know. I was extremely high risk, and my Phil was asking my husband what he'd do if he had to choose me or the baby. Before hubby could answer, my Mill pipes up with, well, if it's her or the baby, save the baby, you can find a better mother. I was standing right there. Husband lost it. Deleted. My husband of 15 years just left me for another woman. He says, why aren't you more sad? My mom told me that if anyone got close enough to really know me, they'd find out what a bitch I am and have nothing to do with me anymore. P.S. I have lifelong friends and a relationship with my siblings. She doesn't. My dad defended my childhood rapist. Said men have needs. I should feel flattered he chose me. How can I even call it rape if I was too young to not know the word back then? When I was maybe 13, I confided in my mom that I was having suicidal thoughts. She laughed at me and later told my dad. He called me downstairs and took out a giant atlas of the area. He opened it, pointed, and said, these are all the bridges nearby. If you need a ride to one, let me know. And walked out of the house. I already knew my dad hated me, but this solidified that both my parents believed they'd be better off without me. When I think of how you've ruined your life, I want to kill myself. My father to me at 18 in my final year of high school. It was the only promise he kept. I was 11 and it was my first group sleepover. One of the girls told me she would shove a pair of high heels so far up my vagina that I'd never be able to have children. She also threw my teddy against the wall and its eye popped out. To kill myself when I was 9 at a family reunion by a 45-year-old auntie. I asked my mom about it earlier and got more context. She was disappointed that I was half white, hadn't skipped a grade, and that made me a disgrace to the black half of the family. She had apparently called her after the whole ordeal. When I was maybe 12 or 13, I got an infection. My family was very cold towards me. They basically said that no man wants to fuck a sick woman. I still don't understand why they would say that to their little girl. My mom told me that she wishes I was never born. I wasn't planned, but they always told me I was a surprise. One day when my mom drank a little more than usual, I told her I love her, and she looked me in the eye and said, I don't love you. Fuck, I wish you were never born. I haven't stopped thinking about that. It was just us two in the room when it happened, and she doesn't remember it. It scared me, and I don't think I will forget it. I was a teacher F. One friend F was a teacher, and the other friend M was a teaching assistant. Our principal accused me of trying to start an affair. He went out of his way to warn both of my friends about me and his concerns that I was trying to steal my friend's fianc. In middle school, I was told by a girl named Aubrey that I was a 2/10, and she audibly gagged at me. Well, guess who's a 2/10 now, 15 years later? Still me, but fuck you, Aubrey. Sorry some of you all had similar experiences. I wish hormonal teens were kinder to one another. No one is going to want to have you as their GF while you're this fat, my mom's friend. I was 14 at that time, and not even fat. It still haunts me. Slut, by my father. I was 10 to 13 years old, didn't even do anything wrong at that time. I was just sitting and giggling watching the television. P.S. My first language is not English, so does my father, so I know I didn't misheard it or anything. Edit. The replies and upvotes are a bit overwhelming. My ex-husband, while we were still married, I don't find you sexually attractive anymore. I was 8 months pregnant with our second child. We were in the middle of making love. My ex-husband again. Fast forward a year. I am still nursing my baby girl when he tells me, lose weight or I want a divorce. I am 5'5" and weighed 135 pounds when he said that to me, which is exactly 10 pounds more than I weighed on our wedding day. I will show up at your wedding and cause the biggest scene. You have a mortal enemy in me. I will F you up every chance I get, and I hate you for life, my sister, because I was getting married again, and that's against Christianity. That I'm a gold digger for being adopted. Yeah, I planned all on my biological mother womb, my life of luxury, but I failed because I got a family of high school teachers. While speaking to a group of people as maybe a 15-year-old, an older teen who apparently didn't like me said if I wanted you to open your mouth I'd pull down my zipper. 30 years ago, and I never forgot it. Asshole. I don't love you or care about you. I only love your sister. Honorable mentions. I hope you never make it into college. I hope you have to work a grueling schedule for the rest of your life. Thanks, Dad. When I was 11, my dad told me that my mom wouldn't have sex with him, so he tried to hang himself, but it didn't work. It shouldn't have been your dad. It should have been you. It should have been you. Said repeatedly by my mother, both drunk and sober, after my father's death. I think I looked too much like him for her. My dad's speech at my mom's funeral, an LT mom and GT, and an LT son and GT, had a close relationship. I'd have preferred to have a daughter. Not sure how that's relevant for the occasion, but okay. Either that or your mom wanted you, not me. Many years before that, somehow he's still surprised I blocked him and didn't give him my new address. I just wanted to let her know how I was still affected by it. She looked me dead in my eyes and told me it was just a boy being curious and to get over it. That was the day I stopped loving my mom. Physics teacher in my undergrad. Very accomplished and worked for NASA. He told me I would never become a physicist like him. He was right, I am a physicist now, just never achieved the level of douche he did. You know the meme from Loki. Yes, very sad. Anyway, my sibling's spouse died. Our father changed yes for stiff shit. I walked out of his house. I've never spoken with him again. Years of narcissism, that was the proverbial straw, that precise moment in time. My mom, drunk at the time, put her arm around me in front of the entire family and said, "Chuck, you have always been my favorite. I'm John. Chuck is my older brother. My best friend, dog died, and I was so upset and someone told me to man up." I've despised that phrase ever since. I will never tell my son to man up. Ex-friend of mine told me that as a psychologist her profession opinion is as that my depression was just manipulation and I was a bad person. She was mad at me because I didn't answer her when she wanted to talk on message. I was out and only saw the message the next morning. My husband died suddenly when I was 35. There's a picture of me at the visitation standing in front of his urn with my brother's arm around my shoulders while I cried. My friend said, "I love that picture of your brother supporting you." I said yeah. That's when he told me to suck it up and stop crying. When I was 15, my high school principal, a priest, visited me at home one night and asked me about my sexual preferences. When my 19-year-old sister arrived home from work, the principal left in the biggest hurry. My mom married my stepdad when I was 4 and we moved out to my step-grandmother's ranch to work it. When I was 7, I was told to help my 9-year-old cousin learn about what to do. He whined and bitched about everything he has to do the entire time. I told my stepdad's mother about him not being too excited about it. "Well, he's the oldest, so this ranch will be his someday," she'd said. "I'm 7. I don't know how shit works, so I ask, so I'll be working for Brad here someday." "No, you're going to be a priest. There's no other use for bastard children," was her answer. Dated boy freshman year of high school. Age 14 or 15. We broke up after 9 months. Largely due to the fact I struggled with a very intense depression due to my dad abandoning me that year and bullying. 3 years later, we ended up working at the same food place. Ex apologized for not being more sensitive to my issues. I said don't sweat it. I totally understand how you couldn't handle what I was going through. We were young. No hard feelings. Ex and I were now cool and worked fine together. Ex's dad came in one day and ordered food from us. I overheard him telling laughing to X that he was surprised to see me working there and shocked that I was allowed to work somewhere with knives. I struggled with self-harm during my depression. A 50-something-year-old man said that about the choices a 17-year-old made at 14. My ex just kind of awkwardly shock laughed, not maliciously, if you know what I mean, and went back to work. Whack. I had a coworker ask me why I didn't give my adoptive son back or place him in a home when he was diagnosed on the spectrum. Needless to say, we don't chat anymore.